Vijana oye! Viongozi oye! Harambee! Haya, tunaweza keti tafadhali. My brother Mheshimiwa Itonga Mukoji, my brother Pithon, my brother Simba, na pia MCA wa kule Kirinyaga, na viongozi wote ambao wamekuja hapa representing various political parties, which are many. I will not mention all of them because you can see there are many. For various positions. Good afternoon. Comrades, power. Kwanza niseme mimi nimefurahi sana kwa hapa siku ya leo. Na Mheshimiwa Pithon, thank you very much for inviting me to come and be part of this occasion. I knew Pithon from All Saints Cathedral Church, because that's where I go to church and I've been going there since campus. He was actually part of the praise and worship of All Saints Cathedral. And that is where he knew how to wear a suit. So Mheshimiwa Pithon, thank you very much. And also Mheshimiwa Mukoji, vile amesema ni my brother. And we collaborate in many things because we are clear-minded about where our country should go. And we are also clear-minded on what we need to do in our respective areas so that Kenya can also become a much better place. I want to go direct to my points. And I noted them because I wanted this meeting today to be a meeting that will make sense to what we are aspiring to be and the positions that we are seeking. And those who can note, you can note. But siku hizi tunasemanga naweza watch baadaye kwa YouTube. Because I came to share some experiences which you will need. In terms of what you are seeking, a political position, there are some canons that cut across. There are some things that become outliers that you can use a formula that is different from the norm. But to a large extent, 70% of the things that you need to do are uniform, whichever the position you are seeking. But before I go there, it is important that I acknowledge that I am a very privileged citizen of Kenya, having been given the opportunity to serve the people of Kiharu and the people of Kenya in the National Assembly. And I want to assure you, I do my best in those responsibilities. In Kiharu, it's a very large constituency, just like Manyata, because it's among the top 2 largest rural constituencies in our region. We have 112 public primary schools, all of them without exception. They are well done. Hakuna iko na mlango ya bao ama dirisha ya bao. They are all done and they are all high. And you know, when we say about tiling, we just say to summarize the work. There is a lot of work that has gone into that. Renovating old structures, but also building new ones. We have actually built 7 new secondary schools in that period of time. So when we post tiles, it only represents the summary. There is much more work that is done. And I am also very proud that any learner in Kenya has an opportunity to come to Kiharu in any of our day secondary schools, because the school fees in all our day secondary schools, covering over 12,000 learners, is only 500 shillings. And in fact, peke yake. Na hakuna story ingine kula shule from Monday to Saturday. Na sio githeri mfululizo. Githeri 3 days na rice 3 days. Na the last Friday of the month unakula chapati. And it's not a pronouncement. We have been doing it since 2023. By that time, parents were paying 1,000 per learner. but now we were able to reduce it. Let me just tell you something. I was telling Mokoji when we were coming. By the time we were reducing school fees to 500 shillings, in our day secondary schools accounts, we have savings of over 61 million Kenya shillings just sitting around. So that we can continue to establish a program that can run in a solid manner. Let me go now to what brought me here. Why are we aspiring to be leaders? I mean, why? You went to university, you did BCom, you studied psychology, you studied engineering. Okay, why? What's the reason? That you have now stepped out, you are looking for a political seat. That's a constant question that you must ask yourself and have specific answers and write them down. Because leadership across Kenya and across all other nations has been seen to be the biggest ingredient in development and especially progress in the economy. There is no reason a country like South Korea, which has no minerals, just like Kenya, has now wealth per person, GDP per person, GDP per capita, 12 times a Kenyan. I want you to reflect. What is this that South Korea did? What is this that China did from 1978? That a country that a Chinese was poorer than a Kenyan, now hata mkikutana na Chinese kwa barabara, unaondoka apite. Why? What happened? You realize China hawakufupua mafuta na China hawakupata kuna gold kwao. It is the leadership that catapulted China, catapulted South Korea, catapulted Taiwan, catapulted all the other countries into what they are today. And therefore, you aspiring to be a leader, you are actually giving in to the best ingredient, to the most consequential ingredient that Kenya needs to move forward. Because when we have many people competing and they are competing on the basis of ideas, then the best idea wins. And when the best idea wins, it helps even the people you defeat in the ballot. I hope you are getting me. When you are 10 people and Mungu asaidia yule alikuwa na maono mzuri yapite, hiyo maono haisaidii yule amepita tu, inasaidia watu na pia inasaidia hawa wengine 9 ambao hawakupata nafasi. And therefore leadership is a very important thing. And I want to call all of us, musiregarege. Tusikuja hii event, uone mumesimamishwa kama watu 20 mnataka kiti moja, you start rethinking. You may rethink in terms of the position, you may shift to another one, but do not rethink in terms of your involvement in taking Kenya forward. This is the main point that I wanted to come and share with you. Because I also speak to myself as I speak to you. We all have ambitions. Siba has an ambition to become more than an MCA. Mheshimiwa Mokoji has an ambition to become more than the MP for Manyata. Mheshimiwa Pidon has an ambition to become much more than Mr. Pidon. We all have ambitions. But I want to challenge all of us in this hall today. And I'm sharing with you practical things I have seen in leadership. We are very good in coming up with areas, agendas, with strategies on how to win an election. And we give all our time on polishing the distance between now and August of 2027. We are preoccupied, all of us, with only that. That if you got a shorter route to make 2027 come to tomorrow and you win, you'll bring it closer. What am I trying to say? I came here to challenge all of us in this hall, young leaders, young aspirants. It is not the aspirations that take the country forward. It is the ability to govern.
And therefore my challenge today, including to myself, we must, after the end of this session, move from being aspirants to being leaders in waiting. Because an aspirant is a person you ask, unataka kuwa nini? Nataka kuwa mbunge. Unataka kuwa nini? Nataka kuwa MCA. Nataka kuwa senator. But you must look inward, na saa zingine unajiuliza swali. If you are to be given this position today, where would you start? And that is the challenge of moving from being an aspirant into being a leader in waiting. If you read one of the books written by Tony Blair, after retiring from being prime minister, the British prime minister, he got another role of teaching other leaders how to govern. And in teaching other leaders how to govern, he talks to presidents. He's actually the one behind the presidential delivery unit in Kenya, the previous term. And even this term, he actually is also an advisor of the current administration, informally. And he's paid for that. He has tutored many leaders. And in one of the books, that is the point I had, he talked comprehensively about how so many leaders have a very sweet tongue. They have very good strategies of winning an election. But upon interacting with them, he realized their ability was ending on winning. There was no ability from there. I have participated in a national campaign in Kenya. And I can tell you, there is a deficiency in leaders in waiting in Kenya. A person wins an election and spends the first 3 years first asking, kiti inakuwaga wapi ya kukalia? Where do we start from here? And I'm talking about from position ya juu mpaka chini. So it is important, all of us in this hall today, ukienda kutafuta kiti, always ask yourself, ukipewa hiyo kiti leo, utaanza kufanya kazi gani? And how do you do that? Number one, it is studying. You know, I have many people, I can see many, now that I have come here, naona watu wengi ni marafiki wangu hapa. Saa zingine mnanipigia simu, I want you to be my mentor. Mukonji, if you had time, angewaambia the same. Sometimes you put us in an awkward situation. When you tell somebody, nataka ukuwe my mentor. Okay, what do you mean by that? I want you to, si tunaongea, tumekuja hapa tusaidiane. When you tell a leader you want to be a mentee, okay, what do you want that leader to do? Okay, ukuje ofisi, tuongee, nikupe my story hapo, then you go home feeling very nice in your heart. You are motivated. Guys, that is not mentorship. Mentorship happens on the ground. It does not happen in offices, which ukiingia iko na carpet na iko na fan inawapigia air hapo. If you want Mukoji to be your mentor, wewe unasoma kwa PA wake, anaenda ground siku gani? Go and observe what he does. And there is no coincidence, guys. There is no coincidence. If you look the sequence, myself here, our current governor has been my friend since he was a councillor. Both of us, in I think some election back then, we participated, both of us, directly in the campaign of our former MP called Genye Kariuki. We participated. Sio selfie that huko. Is it a coincidence that both of us participated in Genye Kariuki's campaign? Genye Kariuki himself had participated in Kenneth Matiba's campaign. Myself, I participated in our current governor's campaign when he was vying to be MP for Kiharu. And now I am here as MP for Kiharu. Can you see that sequence? Kenneth Matiba was our MP. One person who was a youth winger in his campaign served as our MP. I am here with our current governor, having also been part of the youth wingers of that MP, who became an MP, our governor became MP, and I'm now MP. It's not a coincidence. So what I'm telling you, if you do an analysis currently in Parliament, you realize a sizable population of current MPs, senators, even MCAs, who are either PAs of MPs, CDF committee member of an MP, even a bodyguard of an MP. One for Kitui was a bodyguard of their MP. What does that tell you? Learning not from books, learning practically by observing, by doing. The second thing, now you are aspiring to be MP, MCA. Do you even understand the MCA, kazi ya MCA ni gani? Si tunasema tufunguliane roho hapa kusaidiane. You go to Mokoji, you tell Mokoji, nataka nivae kiti ya MCA. Mokoji anakuuliza, what do you want to achieve? Mheshimiwa, mimi nataka nijenge barabara ya rami kutoka pale Ena igie mpaka Kidhemo. Na nataka kwanza ikuwe highway standards. Okay, it's a good maono. But do you think that person understands the role of an MCA? Understand the role of the position you are seeking. If you are seeking to be MP, there is CDF. First of all, be very clear-minded. Clear-minded. What do you actually want to do with CDF? Then, learn from the best practices. Sisemi ukiingia sahi. And I'll tell you the reason. When you are talking before people in a village, in a baraza umepewa nafasi uongee, those parents of ours and our brothers and sisters seated there listening to you, wako hapo, mwenye ako nyuma, mwenye ako mbele, wanakuangalia tu hivi wakikugrade. And they are not grading you by how you are wearing. They are grading you by the depth of the knowledge you have in terms of your responsibilities. So as an aspirant, learn from the best practices of the position you want to occupy, so that you are actually walking around here as an aspirant, but in terms of capacity, you are better than you are sitting MP now. That in decision making, if you are given that position today, within the next 100 days, people will know they have a different MP. But what do? Tunajiweka kwanza kutafuta kiti without knowing it is actually self-feeding. For you to capacitate yourself to be the best MP when you are an aspirant, you are actually also polishing yourself to be the better of all the candidates. So it is self-feeding. But also, you will not waste time. And I tell you, positions you occupy, people decide whether they are taking you back the first 2 years. Ebu jaribu kuangalia kwenu hata kwa MP. Kuna MP mlifukuza. In the first 2 years, you knew harudi na hakurudi. Because the first 2 years you set the pace, and it's the same first 2 years that you are learning. Ati ofisi ya CDF inakuanga wapi? CDF inaweza cheka dispensary. CDF inaweza hamisha mto. Can we relocate the river using our CDF money? That is the time ati unaelewa vitu kama hizo. Be a leader in waiting. Public speaking is an issue that I should not emphasize. Sometimes you think public speaking is only the confidence to hold a mic. Public speaking is more than that. It is talking to the heart, even as you talk to the mind. The beauty about it, it is something that you can learn. But you don't learn from books. You can read all the John Maxwell books on public speaking. But you have to learn on the job. And it starts, hapo, Pidon alikuwa praise and worship. You know how to hold the mic. You know when to shout. You know when to talk in a low voice. Those things count. The other thing, in summary, don't fear to visit areas. What do I mean? Like in my functions in Kiharu, when I'm launching major projects, there are some guys I see from Kisii. They have never missed my major functions. So in the back of my mind, huwa najua, hawa watu ni wajaja sana. Because anakuja hata haogei, but they are my friends, they were student leaders. So they come and sit and they observe. Kama hata siko, unasikia wako Kiharu wanaangalia vile tunafanya kabro, vile tunafanya tiles. Huyo jamaa unampea kiti ya MP the first 1 year, he has already gained his next 10 years because he already understood what he wants and anaingia kwa vishido. So there is no time wasting and resource wasting. I want to talk something about mentorship. I've mentioned, I don't want to repeat because I don't want to tire you. Campaigning versus governing. It is what I've been talking about. All of us here, and you can attest, is about the seat you want. And I can tell you, even myself, the reason why I become tamed in talking about ambitions is because I have realized in Kenya, it is better to spend your time in making you a leader, in making yourself a leader in waiting in any position, than spending time kuchora. Nitagusha huyu ndio nifike pale, alafu nitaenda hapa nichongoe huyu dionekane hivi. No. Polish yourself, be a leader. I guarantee you, you will never struggle to start out. You will never struggle. Yani utaenda mkutano uko na t-shirt na majamaa wamevaa tai na suti, but unapewa 1 minute and you will start out and you will get that position. Differentiate campaigning and governing. Do not think you will learn how to govern when you are already occupying a position. You will not. Why? Because the process of seeking for that position, people are also looking for qualifications of a person who already understands how to govern. And therefore, you can't exhibit how you are going to govern if you are not already polishing yourself on how to govern. Utakuwa unaenda, unapewa mic. Hai, hey, ha, asanteni sana, nimepita hapa, nini, unakaa. Jamaa mwingine anapewa mic na mnashindana kiti moja. Mimi naitwa hivi, shule hii yetu hapa, nafanya hii, nimefanya data, we have 67 primary schools here. Mimi wadosi wangu, nimefanya calculations, I need this kind of amount of money for all of them to look like academies, including tiling, and that takes only 1.5 of our CDF. Hey, mtu wako hapo, akifikiria umemaliza, unaenda next. We have 27 day secondary schools in our constituency, na mimi wazazi naelewa shida mnapitia, because even me, my own parent, alipitia hiyo. Na nimefanya calculations that out of our 6,700 learners in our day secondary schools, and you are citing correct data, we need this kind of money to reduce school fees from this to this much. You as a voter listening to that guy, what comes to your mind? Don't you want to be that guy now, informing that to the voter? Tuna raise bar ya leadership, because Kenya najua itabadilika. I am certain about that. Lakini we will not buy. Unapewa mic kama kijana, unasema vitu mbili tatu, unakaa. And let me tell you, sometimes we take voters for granted. That's something I have come to appreciate. The current voters, wale unaenda kwa baraza, ati unafikiria umetoka Nairobi uko na maneno, huyu wako pale nyuma ni retired teacher, amekaa hapo. Huyu amekaa ile kona ni retired nurse. Uko hapo ukiwapea porojo. Wewe ukienda, wanaachwa wakielimisha watu on how ignorant you are on matters. Don't want to be that person. It does not harm you to know your constituency so well that munaenda baraza na you are sitting MP and you know the constituency needs better than them. It doesn't harm you. Kitu kidogo sana, kwani itakuteka hata unit pili ile ulisoma nyinyi mumeenda campus. Umesoma 4 years psychology. You can't take a week to know your constituency and you are seeking for such a high position. That's what I'm talking about, guys. The other thing, now tumekuja kwa campaign. Because I agree governing is important, but you can only govern when you occupy a position. And that is why I support my brothers and sisters in civil society, yes, but I think it's also better to step in the field itself, so that even as we put the government into order, especially our brothers and sisters in the civil society, we also actually come to the front line that we can do things better. Sio kama nasema kitu. Nasema nini? Ati kitu. What was I saying? Unajua Mwokozi alisema nilimzushia 100,000, nikaona neighbor ananiitisha namba. Nitajump ile point amjashika. Now I'm coming to governing and winning. So there is campaign. Now after winning, there is governing. But knowing how to govern is also a prerequisite of people knowing that you are a good leader. So all those things happen together. So how do you win? We are just sharing our experiences. Politics is two-sided. Now politics, see, you're governing, you're winning, you're vying. There is a part called sales. That's like a product. Now the product is you. There is a side of sales. There is a side of marketing, sorry. We start with marketing. There is a side of marketing. And then there is a side of sales. In politics. What is marketing? In politics, marketing is, do people already know who is Kawajiro? Do people already know? That's the point. Madam Thega, do people already actually know kuna dem fulani hey anaogea bana mpaka anashikwa? Do people already know there is somebody? That is called marketing. Marketing is, you can't say you are vying to be MP for Manyata, you are vying for Senator of Embu, and the electorate are not aware you even exist. So that part is called marketing, and is the part that entails name recognition. Recognition is the part that entails facial recognition. It entails wewe kujulikana. Hii story yote ya billboards, story yote ya posters, story hii ingine yote is about marketing. When you do marketing, then you graduate to sales. Don't go fast to sales before marketing. But I'll show you how they feed to each other. Sales says, okay, tunajua kama Mwokozi hakusimama peke yake, walisimama wengi because I was coming here for campaigns. And people knew all the candidates. So they already done their marketing. I want you to understand that. By the time you start before people, and people know, huyu ni Muturi, huyu ni Joe, yule ni Kamau, yule ni Munene, mumepangwa hapa. People already know. So you are already good in marketing. The next part is, are you buyable? That is the sales part. And it is across all positions. All. Okay, tunamjua, but you as the purchaser of the product, can you buy that product? The product is you. Don't look at me like you don't understand it. I'm talking about you. So how you package yourself, guys, is as important as the part you are selling yourself. Because remember this, that is why I'm saying it is a circle. You know a circle, you don't know inaanzaga wapi. When I drew a circle here, this the ilianza hapa ama hapa. Even a professor in mathematics hajui. So that's why it's called self-feeding. Self-feeding means you actually don't know. It's the issue of an egg and a hen and a chicken. What came first? It is the same. Sales and marketing is the same. Why? As you market yourself, you are marketing to be known. How do people know you in the first instance? When the person sees you the first time, what impression do you leave in their mind? What am I saying? There are some people who never get elected, yet in the marketing they are so good they are known, but they are never elected. Why? Because at the first instance, how people knew them grounds their judgment. Let's say the first thing people know you about is you are a part of a gang fulani. You are part of that gang and you are the leader. So you are known by virtue of that. Is that? Well, kuna wezi kama kwetu. If you ever read novels about John Kiriamiti, ni wa kwetu. You get? And he's a good man, by the way. We go to the same shopping center. You allow me to use, he's a good man, so I'm using the figure John Kiriamiti in the book, not the person. That person you read in the book, you know him. Now, when he asks for a position, knowing you know him, how do you know him? It's you now. That the first thing people knew you, ni mukipigana na watu mmeshikana mashati. And you became a hero in that fight. Mukipigana magumi na mtu. Kwanza niwe ulikuwa unapigana. That's the first instance the voter knew you. When will you ever rub that image from their mind? So this marketing and sales is important. Market yourself, but you'd rather be gradual than do silly things. Don't go and bite a dog in the market for you to be known. Because knowing you'll be known. But how will you ever break the ceiling of sales? You have done your marketing, but in the sales part, unakwama hapo. Let me also say something. I'm almost finishing. When is the right time to join to start campaigns? Let me give you an example. When I was vying for my first term in Kiharu, I launched my campaigns on the 27th of January 2017. I want you to think. Tusikue tu hii tumekuja kama lecture. Hebu fikiria hiyo nini nasema. No, nomination here, you know, it was the election. It was during the Jubilee time. So in all this region, nomination was the election. And the nominations were they had been scheduled for March. I think they were postponed afterwards. So I launched my campaigns on 27 January 2017. I remember one time a lady called Washiko. It had never, haijawahi nitoka kwa mic. Washiko was my supporter. Tulikuwa tunajuana. Na alikuwa anaona jamaa anachelewa. So mimi naona bana na sasa hiyo ni kama last 2016 August. Nikaona amepost kwa WhatsApp. Ndindi Nyoro MP. Then I saw one guy make fun of my name. That guy is my friend now, but sijawahi mwambia. You know, people have never known Ndindi Nyoro. Nikaona jamaa make fun kwa hiyo WhatsApp. Then I called Washiko nikamwambia toa hiyo kitu. Because I didn't want to be an aspirant that early. I didn't want to be an aspirant that early. This is the reason, guys. Calculate properly. Between the period unagurumisha gari ya siasa, ikiguruma hivi ni kukanyaga mafuta. So you have to calculate properly that you have enough resources, enough things to tell people. So that ukigurumisha gari pahali, you know, when you launch in 2 years before time, it means you'll go to the same villages 4 times. Selling the same story. Oh, buliniambia hili maneno ya ile barabara, hiyo mara ya 4. When you launch too early, you also fall into a ditch of people seeing you as an incumbent aspirant. There's something called an incumbent aspirant. So when people are looking for something new, they actually categorize you in the same category as your current sitting MCN and MP. Munaika kwa kikapu moja. Why? Akiitwa Mashakaya, si hata wewe unaendanga. So you've been serving. Kwani anaomba kiti? Si amekuwa. Sisemi ati mumeanza mapema. But I'm just saying, wewe umechelewa, don't think that you are late. You are not. Depends with how you are packaging yourself. The last thing I want to talk about, ndio niongee kitu moja tu nikae chini. How are you packaging yourself as a candidate? Because you can package yourself by winning hearts through sympathy. How do you win sympathy? You win sympathy when you project the opposite of strength. So as a candidate, you are appealing to sympathy or you are appealing to strength. So how are you packaging your campaign? As a young person, most times, including me when I was vying, an element of sympathy is very high. This is the only caution I wanted to underline there. Don't just sell yourself as a product on the basis of sympathy. Let people sympathize, but they actually also see a leader in you. As you give a story on how you are being chased to get school fees, because it's good you are associating, yes, after that, which lessons did you learn for you to be a better leader? That 1 minute you are given to speak is the one you should summarize those things. And I want to again, guys, underline. Yes, it's good to, ukienda pahali unachocha. Hata mimi nilifanya hivyo, nikuja nikasema vijana nini mkasema. It's good to kuweka tempo. But you look frivolous. When you come and shout all those things, then you don't say anything about the position you are seeking. And you are telling your electorate. They live there knowing, yes, they are not electing the one who is there, but they also live there knowing you are also neither an option. And you remember there is a time you can be given a chance to speak. You end up campaigning for the leader you already have who is already actually not good enough. Because when people compare you, unaona, hey, I can't have. Those things apply to all positions. And I hope I didn't come here just to excite your heart. You know, kuna vitu tunaedaga unaongeleshwa, unatoka yuko mimi nimesikia ameongea vizuri sana huyo mtu. Like sometimes I go to speak about investments because that's the other area I like a lot. You see people are excited. If you recall that meeting after 1 month, uulize watu, how many of you took the first step? You realize you are speaking to yourself. So guys, yes, I was speaking to myself because I also learn when I'm speaking. But I also hope you don't trivialize those points, including the ones that we are given earlier. Nikimalizia, allow me to point out 2 things national. And as I point them, I want you to be rest assured. Nyinyi ni vijana kama sisi. I want you to be rest assured. Mimi Ndindi Nyoro hapa, Mheshimiwa Mokoji, in this Kenya, we will stand for what is right, regardless of the cost. And you know, sometimes we are talking, some guys in positions of government, they think, ati utarusha hii jina hapa, maneno pale. I want to assure them, my friends, we are here for a long haul. And the time for taking advantage of Kenyans by selling ignorance to them, that time is gone and gone forever. The other day, I talked about Safaricom shares. And I saw some people of the entire government trying to respond. Unfortunately, they were responding issues about the messenger. I'm challenging them. This is not about the messenger. It is about the Kenyan people and Kenyan money. And I agree with all those who are saying that companies' prices are set in the market. They are not set in boardrooms. I agree. I agree because the people in government set Safaricom price in the boardrooms. And no one should think that they'll be coming, shout some big English words to Kenyans, and they think we'll be quiet. We are not going to be quiet. You are either on the side of Kenyans or you are on the side of the people buying our Safaricom share for a song. Na wale wanauza hizo hisa, ukidivide zile zinauzwa na watu wa Kenya wote. Mimi kama Ndindi Nyoro wanauza share zangu 100. Na watu wa Kiharu na watu wa Kenya. If you divide the 6 billion shares by the 50 million Kenyans, every one of us, kama ni hiyo share inagawanywa mtu apewe, kila mtu ako na share 100 yake. So as you talk to us, please downgrade your arrogance, guys. Because there is no way I am going to keep quiet. And I'm repeating many times. I have been in maneno ya shares since I was first year in campus. And if there is a time I'll use my knowledge, I will use my expertise, I will use my understanding to help the people of Kenya. It is now when we are selling our most prized asset called Safaricom. And my formula is very simple, guys. Okay, you are selling Safaricom to build roads. In fact, I'm saying, go ahead. But I'm telling you this. Is it money you want? Yes. More or less? More. Then I'm here saying, you'll get more money by opening Safaricom bid into international buyers to compete. If we end up getting 350 billion Kenya shillings, instead of the 200 billion we are getting, aren't we going to build more roads? Aren't we going to build more roads? So we are just saying, we are not going to keep quiet as people purport to take advantage of Kenyans. Telling me Safaricom is listed and telling Kenyans, we know. But we also know this. NCBA is a listed company. NCBA. And they are being bought by Netbank from South Africa. From the same country the buyers of Safaricom are coming from. But NCBA was trading at below 70 shillings before there was a rumor of the purchase and the transaction. But the people who are buying NCBA, they are buying it at over 102 per share. It is listed and we know. So if it's a lecture about market prices, that lecture was done with long time ago. We know it. There is a company called EABL. And their biggest shareholder is called Diageo. And they are selling to Asahi of Japan. The market price of EABL share as of yesterday was 244 shillings in our NSE, not any other place. But Diageo is selling to Asahi for 590 shillings per share. So we are telling you people in government, it is either you float Safaricom and you open it up to international bids, or you face the people of Kenya and tell them, or you, let me repeat, it is either you open up the bid for Safaricom for international bidding so that Kenyans can get more money out of this sale, or you just face the people of Kenya and tell them you are safeguarding your own self-interest in that transaction. But hii story ya kukuja na maneno mkubwa mingi, it will not work. Because we are going to speak. If you don't want to hear, it is your business. Many Kenyans want to understand about their assets, and we are going to do it. And as the people in government come to lecture us about markets and such, I also want to tell them, guys, there is the Kenya pipeline shares that are being sold through an IPO now. You go back to where you were in a meeting, trying to think you are allocating 20 to 25% on something you are calling regional investors. And you are talking about Uganda. The people in government who want to buy Kenya pipeline shares, don't call yourself a regional investor based in Uganda. We know you, it is you. So hii mambo ya kukuja kusize wa Kenya ati kuwaweka kwa box, hiyo story imeisha. If Kenya Pipeline shares, if you look, you know, if you are doing honest transactions, guys, don't bother hiding. Face Kenyans during the day. That boardroom you went, allocated, yes, 35% to the National Treasury, 20-25% into something you are calling regional. That regional investor they are purporting is a Ugandan. But that Ugandan is a Kenyan. And I want the people of Kenya to check. After the closure of the Kenya Pipeline IPO, from Kenya, the second highest investor will be Ugandan. But that Ugandan is a Kenyan. The second one, they are purporting at a foreign investor, giving that foreign investor 20-25%. I have the names of those companies. And therefore, I'm calling upon the transaction advisors. If I already have the outcome of an IPO that is closing next month, what is the process for? If I already have, and I can share in public for people to know, if I already have the outcome, what does that talk about the process? What does that talk about the process? So what I'm trying to say is this: kama tunaenda hivi kama wa Kenya ni sawa, abia wa Kenya tunaenda hivi, lakini hii njia ya kado hiyo imeisha. Now let me put it this way. Kwanza mambo ya safari. Mambo ya safari. I will not, as Ndindi Nyoro, keep quiet when my country is losing close to 150 billion Kenya shillings on the sale of Safaricom by the people in government going into a boardroom and deciding the price is 34 shillings for a company whose share price was 45 shillings in 2021. And I'm asking them a very simple issue. What is this that you are protecting? That when a Kenyan asks about Safaricom shares, it is you who is responding on behalf of buyers. How can you be the seller and you are the spokesperson of the buyer? Let me make it very clear. For the last time, hii watu ya serikali, mimi nauliza kwa heshima. Hii share ya Safaricom, mimi sitaitikia muuze kama panga ambayo imekatika. Lazima muweke hiyo kampuni, watu wote waweke bids zao, Wakenya wanufaike kwa pesa ambayo ni mingi. However, if you feel that you are not going to be answerable to the people of Kenya, I am going to share the phone numbers of directors of Vodafone. I am going to share the phone numbers of the directors of Vodafone and Vodacom for Kenyans to ask these questions directly to them. And mimi nitaendelea kufanya siasa ya heshima kwa viongozi wote. Naheshimu kila Mkenya, naheshimu kila viongozi. But I also want to tell them, we are not going to be intimidated by anyone.
Yes, Mr. President.
And especially when we know and our conscience is clear that we are doing the right thing for the Republic of Kenya. Vijana oye. Ya mwisho. Mimi nimekaa chini kwa heshima kubwa sana. Na nimefanya calculations on what is required for Kenya to offer free basic education to all the children of Kenya. Na nimeanza na senior secondary schools. Na nimefanya my calculations. Because I am saying that because my colleagues are in Naivasha. But I took time to also come here. I'll join them tomorrow. And I understand the government was there talking about education. And they were saying they don't know how much it requires for Kenya to offer free basic education per annum. Kwa heshima ya Wakenya wote, hiyo tumefanya. And this is my asking. The government is mobilizing all the grade 10s to report in our senior secondary schools immediately. And they are saying, hata kama huna fee. But the same government on the other side is saying, oh, but remember, you still have to pay the fee. So I want Kenyans, let us now get into this caucus now, not tomorrow. Yes. Because Kenya is capable of offering free day secondary school education starting now. We only need the government to pay the 22,000 that is in the law, in the guidelines for capitation. And on top of that, the money that is required per learner in Kenya for the lunch program is an average of 35 shillings every day. And we have 185 days that we are in school. All the other days we are on holiday. And therefore, Kenya will only need just around 6,500 shillings additional per learner for all the day schools to be free, including lunch. And we can afford to add another 3,000 shillings on top of the 6,500 shillings so that the principals can get money to pay the BOM teachers where there are shortfalls and to pay all the other costs that are not captured under capitation. So I'm requesting those who are in government, there are movements that come to a nation that become critical junctures. The critical juncture for Kenya to offer free day secondary school is now, not tomorrow. And I am not pushing this burden to the government entirely. As a member of parliament for Kiharu, I am just saying I am ready for the government to cut our CDF by 30 million every constituency. And we are going to raise 10 billion Kenya shillings out of that. The county governments, because they also support education through bursaries, they also agree that we also get 10 billion Kenya shillings out of equitable share. And then the national government, they can delay some of the renovations of big offices to also give in 10 billion Kenya shillings. 30 billion Kenya shillings is enough for Kenya to have a free and totally free day secondary school education in Kenya starting today. So I am asking my seniors in government, what are we waiting for? As MPs, me, I am ready to be cut by 30 billion shillings. Why are we postponing the agenda? Mokoji amekubali. And instead of us now always calling the parents of day secondary schools every term, we can save them from all that. Because we'll have a kitty taking care of every single learner in Kenya. And they'll be eating in school with that amount from Monday to Saturday. Because it is already catered for. Mimi nauliza wa Kenya, must we postpone an agenda which is right? No. We do it now or tomorrow? Now. Free wa Kenya, munataka free basic education today or tomorrow? Today. This year or during election year? Tunataka masomo bila malipo? Tunaitaka leo ama kesho? Sisi kama wabunge, mimi nikiwa hapa, tumekubali the national government kateni 10 billion from our CDF nationally. Our brothers and sisters who are governors, I have talked to some of them, and they are supporting the agenda of free basic education. We will get 10 billion Kenya shillings from the equitable share of over 400 billion. So the national government, your only burden is 10 billion Kenya shillings out of a budget of over 4 trillion Kenya shillings. Let us make this happen today, not tomorrow. Viongozi oye! Kenya oye! May God bless you.
Igwe! Wapi makofi ya Ndindi Nyoro? Ongeza makofi! Ongeza! Haya, tuketi tafadhali. Kama huku ana notebook my friend, hiyo YouTube itaenda mara vizuri, si ndio? I believe we have had a lesson today. Mumesikia hiyo maneno? And Mheshimiwa Ndindi Nyoro, I want to confirm that in those things you have mentioned, kama ni vita bunge, kama ni kuambia vijana tutokee, kama ni kuhakikisha maneno imenini, tuhakikishe tuko pamoja. Because any sensible Kenyan, and the most sensible Kenyan is the one who is supposed to be leading us. Is the one who is supposed to separate sense na maneno ya kipindi. When something is making sense, it does not require further explanation. Hiyo maneno ya Safaricom niko na wewe 100%.